just saw the Dell 8K monitor. That was running off of, you guessed it, 2 DisplayPort 1.3s. So they've got this all closed in here. See this, my friends? ASUS won't tell me what's here, but fortunately I have 2 hands. I got 2 hands. I know how this works. Okay, well, I can't tell exactly what they are, but if I had to guess, I would say that it's one of the only graphics cards on the market that has support for anything higher than DisplayPort 1.2. So it's probably, if I had to guess, Quadro P6000 SLI? Nobody's giving me any confirmation whatsoever. Okay, well, I'm not going to stress about that too much. The point is, this thing's coming in sometime, and by that time, hopefully there will be a system that can run it. All right, more details though. I said before HDR, but the industry has kind of decided that HDR means anything above SDR when it comes to a consumer-grade monitor. ASUS, not good enough for them. This is a gaming display, but they're like, yeah, no, we're going to do it properly. So we've got 384 zones of fully backlit, array backlit LCD goodness, which is allowing them to achieve 1000 nit peak brightness, meaning that this display with HDR10 support is not only a gaming display, it is also potentially, and I don't know much about the color space coverage. What do we got here? You guys talking about that? Looks like not a whole lot, but it's quantum dot, so I'm assuming we're doing better than Adobe RGB anyway. There's nothing that would prevent this thing from being used for content creation. What can't it do? Yeah, the answer is pretty much nothing. But just in case you don't like the gamer aesthetic, well, hey, they've got the PA32U. This puppy looks like it's built on a pretty darn similar platform. The same 384 direct zone, direct LED backlight, 1000 nit peak brightness, HDR support, all that good stuff. But on this one, they are actually calling out 85% of Rec 2020 coverage, 99.5% of Adobe RGB, 95% of DCI-P3, and 100% sRGB support. So this looks like it could be a candidate for us to move to an HDR workflow, wink wink, sometime in the future, assuming that they can get it produced sometime in the next little bit here. So how much is one of these going to cost you? I don't know. Lots. Let's say $1,500.
Hurry, activate the shrines,
but
and the dragon's power is yours.
So thanks for checking out this video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our... I was doing the like call out with the thumb and I was doing the subscribe with the mouth. Don't worry too much about it. A huge shout out. It's been a long day. Shout out to Squarespace for allowing us to be here at CES 2017. Squarespace lets you build a beautiful website that looks great on this just as much as it looks great on this. You got your store, you got your logo designer, you got all your easy to use tools, and you don't have to take my word for it. They've got a 30-day free trial. Check it out at the link in the video description. That's squarespace.com/ I had it open before and now I don't, but now it is squarespace.com/CES and use offer code CES17 to get 10% off your first purchase. This video from CES 2017 is brought to you by dbrand. Check them out at the link in the video description. So they kicked us out of the regular filming area, but there was no way I was going to leave the Dell booth, whatever you call this thing, without covering the XPS 13 2-in-1. So if you guys are looking at it going, gee, that looks an awful lot like the regular XPS 13, then that would be definitely intentional. So still here are the infinity bezels, so the super slim bezels. Still here is the aluminum and carbon fiber construction, and still here is the light, portable feel, and the very good keyboard and build quality, especially considering the size of this device. I'm just gonna manhandle it a little bit here. But they had to make a lot more changes than you would probably think in order to get a 2-in-1 hinge in it. So you get your laptop mode, you get your put it down like this mode, you get your tablet mode. In order to do that, they had to make the device thinner. So they were able to save some space by going from a U-series processor to a Y-series processor. Do we lose some performance? Yes. However, a Y-series processor is a 5-watt processor, and Dell is using some voodoo magic to run it at 7 watts pretty much all of the time with no active cooling whatsoever. So they save some additional space inside for that. They also did reduce the battery size a little bit, but they see this as a product for a different consumer, and that's why both products are going to stay in the lineup together. Another cool fun fact is while you're plugged in, it can actually boost up to 9 watts for minutes at a time, closing the performance gap further. It's available with up to 16 gigs of RAM and up to a 1 terabyte SSD. And in terms of I/O, I think they've found a pretty good balance. You get a Thunderbolt port on the left that can also be used for charging with a headphone and microphone jack, as well as their trademark battery life indicator. And then on the right side, you don't get another Thunderbolt. They would have needed another controller for that, but you get a Type-C and you get a micro SD slot, which is great for content creators since you can easily adapt a micro SD up to a full-size SD for your camera if you're into that sort of thing. They include a C to A adapter in the box in case you just want to plug in a mouse and that's all you really need. And they've made some other tweaks that I really like as well. So 1080p screen or 1800p. Personally, I'd go for the 1080 for the extra little bit of battery life. And they've moved the camera, which supports Windows Hello, just like freaking awesome. Like, hello, all other manufacturers. Can you guys all please start doing this because it's freaking sick. They moved it from the bottom left to the center so you don't look off kilter when you're on a conference call or whatever else. Speaking of conference calls, it's kind of a business-oriented SKU. They've got a fingerprint reader and dedicated page-up, page-down keys, which I'm told is important, though I personally am not a huge fan of that. Everything else pretty much I like about it. So let me know in the comments. You guys want to see a full review of this puppy? I want to hear from you guys, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and a huge thanks to G-Brand for allowing us to be here at CES 2017. If you guys like your device, you probably like the idea of throwing a D-Brand skin on it, whether it's marble, carbon fiber, you know, matte finish color. You can use their configurator. Oh yeah, you can even do this if you're me. They don't actually carry this color anymore. But you can use their configurator to see what your device will look like, makes it look cool, protects it from scuffs and scratches. They do support some of the XPS lineup, so that's a pretty cool thing right there. And for a limited time only, they're offering $1 worldwide shipping, so check that out. It's dbrand.com/LinusCES, or CES Linus, whatever, the link's down there.
Free the Dragon Knight and slaughter your enemies.
Thank you to D-Brand for debranding brands. Check them out in the link in the description down below. We're here at EVGA checking out the SC15. You might be familiar with the SC17, which is their previous 17-inch laptop that they launched at maybe last year. Yes, pretty sure that's correct. They have now lowered the landscape of the screen, made it a bit cheaper, hopefully. It's going to range from maybe somewhere between $1,500 to $1,700. They haven't finalized the price quite yet. And that screen that I just mentioned will be 1080p, G-Sync, 120 Hz, IPS, all running on a GTX 1060.
Well done.
Remember, the 1060 that's in here is the same as a desktop class 1060, so you should be completely fine for a huge range of games at 1080p, and a lot of them should actually get relatively close to that 120 Hz setting if you're playing things like probably Rocket League. On the CPU side of things, they went ham. They have a new Kaby Lake 7700 HQ paired with 16 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and a 256 gigabyte Samsung M.2 SSD. Below that screen is their chiclet keyboard, which features RGB LEDs because it has to. It's 2017, it must feature RGB LEDs. On the back of the screen, there's a white LED lighting up the EVGA logo, and that can be turned off if you don't want light coming out the back of your laptop. On the left-hand side, you have power, which runs to their relatively large power adapter, an Ethernet port, headphone and microphone jacks, and 2 USB 3 ports. On the right-hand side, you have mini DisplayPort, HDMI 2.0, USB Type-C Gen 2 10 gigabit, and a singular USB.
This
Zul'jin go where Zul'jin go.
Unleash its power. Leave only ruins.
Thank you to dbrand for making CES 2017 possible for us this year. Check them out in the link below. This is the most beautiful TV I have ever seen, but not just because of the 4K HDR display and somehow higher brightness and wider color gamut than before, with 25% higher peak brightness in certain situations and 99% DCI-P3 color standard. My favorite feature is what LG is calling Picture on Wall or Wallpaper Display. This LG Signature OLED TV W is only 2.57 millimeters in depth, and it is mounted on the wall using a steel plate and magnets. To accomplish this, they've moved the brains and the processing power into their 4.2 channel Dolby Atmos powered soundbar, which features 4 HDMI ports on the back, along with 3 USB ports, optical in, Ethernet, and RS-232 for control. Another great feature of the soundbar that's outside of the awesomeness of the speakers or the subtle ribbon cable that can either run up the wall behind your TV or be managed behind the wall is just how nice it is when you turn it on or turn it off. There's these 2 top speakers on the outside, and they will either lower into the unit and then be closed off for what I'm assuming is dust protection, or when you turn it on, they will raise up out of the unit while it plays these pleasant tones. So the panel looks amazing. 4K, HDR, Dolby Vision, all that great stuff. The soundbar sounds fantastic, 4.2 channel, Dolby audio, but none of this stuff can be translated very well through YouTube or basically any other online media distribution platform. You need to experience it in person. So hopefully we will get one in office, because I know Linus has probably been chomping at the bit to actually see this, and I beat him to it, and I'd like to check it out with some gaming titles on it. There are 2 versions of this TV, a 77-inch that will be available in the second half of this year, and this guy, a 65-inch that will be available in early March at $7,999.98, which you'll be able to find at some select Best Buy locations. Again, thanks to dbrand for bringing us to CES 2017 this year. If you want to see their stuff, check out the link down below, or look right here. I have a dbrand skin on my phone. We also all have dbrand skins on our laptops. I went with a purple and black theme with mine because it's Razer, so it's purple, black, and green. It kind of looks like the Joker. Whatever. You can configure whatever you want through their configurator and make your device look unique to you. So again, check them out in the link below, and see you guys next time.
Enemy slain. Killing spree.
We're here at the LG stand for CES 2017, and I'm joined by Rob Taylor to talk about their new lineup. So Rob, let's start with the big news. What's happening with OLED?
There's lots going on with OLED TV and expanded lineup this year. So this year we introduced our 5th series of OLED, which is a W series OLED, which is actually our wallpaper OLED concept TV. This is going to be launching in April this year. It's going to be available 77-inch and 65-inch. And I think the major thing about it is the design. It's hugely, hugely innovative. It's a pure OLED panel which gets clipped and hanged to the wall, and it has a separate box, or a separate media box if you like, which has all of the inputs, also combines Dolby Atmos sound, and it also has all of the nice sort of like features that you'd expect with a TV, but with a really, really premium, innovative design which we've not seen in the industry before. So that's our main news here at CES, so we're expecting loads of positive things about that. But other than that, we have an extended lineup, as I say, so we have 4 other series of OLED TV. So a real big lineup at 55-inch all the way to 77-inch again, so we're really, really pleased to be bringing to market another compelling lineup this year.
You just run through the actual lineup of OLED TVs from the bottom to the top and explain how they differ from each other?
Sure, so our B7 series OLED is the starting point, again 65 and 55-inch. From the B7 it moves up to the C7, from the C7 to the E7, and from the E we move to the G, which is historically where we've had our signature lineup, and then this year we introduce the W7 as well. Now, as I mentioned, when it comes to OLED actually this year, the major difference between all the lineups is the design. So the W series OLED is really, really impressive, that wallpaper type thin product. Our G series product features the folding base stand like we had in 2016. Our E series model has a picture on glass concept with the front firing soundbar. Again, a little bit of a similar design to what we had in 2016 with our E6 model. And our C7 and our B7 are kind of more of our traditional TV designs for OLED TV. So actually, when it comes to OLED, the major difference is the design. Now, when it comes to picture quality, one of the great things is you can do so much more with OLED. We know that already. It's already been well renowned for producing, high quality, best image pictures going. Now, the picture quality through all of the OLEDs this year is virtually the same, which is great. So all of the TVs feature, the same level of HDR support, the same level of brightness, also have the same level of, audio support, which is our new premium partnership with Dolby Atmos now. So when it comes to the actual TVs within OLED, you're actually getting pretty much a fair run of all of the features. So we're quite pleased to bring an improved lineup throughout the range.
You mentioned HDR, so what HDR support will there be on the new OLED lineup?
Well, that's one of the big pieces of news from CES this year. I think HDR, as we know, is kind of a real big discussion topic for the industry. And as it is with all new technologies, there are many different formats and versions. Now, for us at LG, we've always had a really open approach to supporting HDR. We've always wanted to champion HDR, particularly on OLED, because high dynamic range just looks stunning on OLED TV. So for this year, in 2017, we're launching not 1, not 2, but actually 4 different formats of HDR. So in 2016, we supported HDR10, or HDR PQ, or HDR Standard as it's known in the industry, as well as Dolby Vision. This year, we add in Hybrid Log Gamma, HLG, out of the box, and also Technicolor. So Advanced HDR by Technicolor is another new announcement that we made here today.
You mentioned HLG. Will you be upgrading last year's OLED models as well?
So it's most likely for 2016 all of our OLEDs will be upgraded as well. That'll be a firmware update, a software update that will happen at some point in the year. And we'll share much more information as and when we kind of fix the plan on that one. But our intention is definitely to support HDR and HLG for our existing line in 2016.
In terms of peak brightness, how does this year's generation differ from last year's generation?
Yeah, I mean, when you see the TVs, you'll actually notice the actual TVs are actually brighter. I mean, on an overall basis, they're brighter. In today's press conference, we were talking about actually how the OLED TVs can be actually up to 25% brighter. But actually, when you look at some of the TVs and look at how the peak brightness has improved, when you isolate it in vivid setting, etc., we can see, deliver 1000 nit peak brightness on OLED TV this year. So overall picture brightness has improved, and then also peak brightness has improved.
Along with Dolby Atmos, you've also got Dolby Vision, of course. How important is Dolby to you as a partner?
Yeah, very, very important. We have partnerships with Dolby that go through the lineup, as I say. So it's not just on TV. So last year, in 2016, we kind of launched Dolby Vision. It's a really big, important announcement for us, and it still continues to be. But this year, we actually top up our